Prosecutors have a calling to bring justice to survivors and bring justice to communities. And when you think about that, there's no greater honor than to have that role of leadership in our communities. We also, as prosecutors, have an opportunity to work closely with persons who are victims of crime, who basically have had an injustice occur to them, but have somehow summoned a courage that is truly inspiring to help us do the work that we're called upon to do as prosecutors. It's an inspiration to have this chance to work with victims and to work with other experts from law enforcement, from advocacy, from the medical community, and from other members of our community. When you think about all of the opportunity that we have as prosecutors, it's no wonder that many, if not most prosecutors, are inspired by this work and by the opportunity to serve. SARTs can also be very important to help inform or discuss a basis for charging a case. As we all know, the statutes in various jurisdictions define what the elements of the crime are, that the prosecutor has the burden or responsibility of proving beyond a reasonable doubt. What's invaluable about a SART is being able to hear the opinion and the vantage point and truly the expertise of other experts who can help inform prosecutors as to the significance of the evidence. Many times a prosecutor may have concern about being able to prove a certain element of the crime, but when you listen to experts who are able to help describe the impact of trauma on the victim and how the victim was affected by the crime, and how the victim perhaps was unable to disclose that crime, perhaps for months or maybe even for a longer period of time. But the important thing is to understand that the offender caused that delay in report. And we have this understanding or achieve this understanding through the insight and the input of professionals who help give us a little bit of a better look into how victims respond to trauma. We know that all victims respond differently, but we need to fully respect that it is the offender who caused the trauma. And this is evidence that can be presented to a jury with very successful results. Part of what we do when we present the evidence of a crime to a jury, we draw not just from physical evidence or DNA evidence, if there is DNA in a case, but we're also drawing from psychological evidence and physiological evidence. And putting this evidence together can be the work of many different professionals making their best possible decisions. So speaking with other professionals can give a prosecutor more of a global look at the potential of all of the evidence that's available to the prosecutor so that the best possible and informed charging decision can be made. A very important part of a SART is the flexibility to be available when needs arise. Prosecution needs to be trauma-informed, and that means centered absolutely upon the victim, the needs, and the best interests of the victim. The other important dimension to being a trauma-informed prosecution is developing evidence that helps describe what the victim's experience of the crime was, so that at a later point we can convey this experience, the reality of the crime, to a jury. So at different points in an investigation and after charging, and sometimes when preparing for a trial, there needs to be every effort made to make sure that we're doing this kind of work so that we can hold offenders accountable for their conduct.